I've never really been a person who gets nightmares. Sometimes I'll get that short, simple claustrophobic nightmare about getting trapped, but never anything serious. Ironically, I just end up staying calm. One day, however, I was playing Halo with my brothers. I usually would stay up late, so I'm not too sure if this had anything to do with my experience or not. Onto the story now. I should add, I have two brothers and sisters. I was around 11 or 12 at the time, and this was during the summer. I'm now 20. I fell asleep onto the floor, basically right on the top of the floor in front of the stairs. How my stairs work is that the steps go down two, then left and then down again. Then there is a ledge with a railing in between it of which you can look over. Usually, when I pass out, I was woken up by my brother in the morning. I would usually get pissed off and throw him off me, then I would get on with my day. This one day, my brother was supposed to wake me up at some time, so this is how I know I was dreaming. In this dream, I was being chased by something normal. That sounds like your average nightmare, right? Wrong. Never had anything like this ever happened to me, or anyone I've ever heard of. In this dream, I was being chased by some kind of terrifying monster. One was orange, the other was purple. These were at least 2.5 times the size of me, and with a black forest all around me. Even the trees were shaded black, and it doesn't help much either that they're getting close, really fast as well. Right as I was about to feel them grab me, my brother David does the usual. I was really fucking deep into sleep at the time, so it took some effort back then. As soon as I got a glimpse of my room/stairs, I started freaking the hell out. I instantly get back into my horrible dream. I was being lifted up by the orange one, so I managed to somehow break free and run. When I get 2 steps down, I'm averted into the nightmare. At the time, I was screaming, and my conscious mind was still dreaming. I was running. I was screaming. I get another 3-second glimpse into reality. Now my brother is used to my cranky attitude for not getting enough sleep, so naturally he was worried. And my family was scared shitless. As in my dream, I'm running, these insane monsters are chasing after me. Then I get one more view of reality. I was running for the front door. No more than 4 seconds later, I was back to hell. I was grabbed by the purple one. It was holding my shoulder. I'm still on the ground. This time I was letting out this scream, but so were they. They were letting out this horribly evil scream. It was horrible. One final glimpse again. Then I ran again. As soon as I started running, it finally stopped. When I gained full total awareness, I was being held by my dad the same way that the monster was holding me. We had a spare door against the wall. That's where I was held. My sister was looking at me. Everyone was horrified. They knew that this wasn't acting. I wasn't trying to pull a joke. This was serious. I could have had a heart attack. I told them the story, still crying, heart pounding, and still visibly shaken up. I didn't see much of anything in reality. I seen more of the dream in the end than the reality. My brother is sort of telling this story because I wasn't really aware of what was going on in real life. I just know that I'm lucky to be alive. My brother said that as he touched me and I started screaming, he was saying, "Alan, what's wrong?" I was yelling, "Help, it's gonna kill me, don't let it get me." Thinking back, I sounded like I was fresh out of the asylum. As soon as I ran down the stairs, I was screaming, trying to bolt out the door when my parents were in the living room. My sister came in and everyone was asking, "What's wrong? What's wrong? You alright?" My dad, a really smart guy with a biker sort of look mixed with a rock star hair and with a black hat, he didn't really want me to go outside. He was doing everything he could to stop me. I was running towards the door, disregarding any and all voices. My dad blocks me, tells everyone to back off, and I was then trying to run for the door again. He grabbed me 5 seconds after and was screaming. He was yelling at me. Then I broke the trance. After reviewing what happened, it's ironically every time my family touched me was when the monsters came in touch. I can't tell you how terrifying it is. It's basically living in a nightmare. I have no explanation about how I could have possibly come in and out of reality like that. You feel everything. The wind in the dream, I felt the pain. This is the most nasty part, feeling that pain. With the part about the stairs, I would never normally do that. I'd imagine that I would have fell through. We do live in an old place, I still do. A normal nightmare is bad enough. When you wake up still in that nightmare, I can tell you that that's the most horrible thing I've ever experienced. Even text cannot truly describe how fucked up the whole thing was. I hope it never happens to me again. Ironically, it was never the monster in the closet or under the bed type, but man, those images haunt me to this day. I don't care if you believe me or if this makes no difference to you in my world, but I was there and you were somewhere else. Let's just say I was shaken up the whole day when something that fucked up happens to you and you never forget it. I hate to think of what would have happened if my dad didn't block the door. I could have easily ran out onto the road and got myself killed. I'm just lucky to be alive. When I was 5 years old, my brother was taken to a place called Greenleaf. My family is very sane. Nothing like this has ever happened to another family member, but my brother, he started to hear voices. He could handle it no longer, so he attempted suicide. He failed, luckily. He tried hanging himself, but by luck, the limb broke. My parents decided that he needed to get some serious help, and they checked him in. On our first visit to the asylum with my father, he had a very bad feeling when we sat down around the table. He looked at my mother and stated to her that there is something very wrong with this place, and he wanted to take my brother out the very next day. But my mum pleaded with him, saying it was better for my brother. However, my father felt very different. They didn't notice at the time, but a man at the table next to us kept licking his lips and waving with a Joker smile on his face. I tried to get my parents to focus in on what was going on, but they were involved in their conversation. Just then, my brother emerged out of a side door. I was so happy to see him that I forgot about the creepy guy for a moment. Just then, my dad goes up to the desk to see how they can get my brother home when the man boldly comes and grabs me, licks my ear and states, "I'm going to rape you tonight." Just then, my brother leaps up, almost beating this guy to death. My father comes in to rescue me after seeing this. I've never been so scared in my whole life. We took my brother the hell out of there as soon as this happened. Soon afterwards, the place was shut down for whatever reason or so. He's always been my favourite brother out of the three I had, mainly because he always saved me. A month after we got him home, I was in the front yard and he has a rattlesnake wrapped around me and it was about to attack me. Once again, it was my brother who saved me. I always tell him that he lived so that I could do so well. I am happy to report that he has since not heard any voices, is married and happy now. Now, fast forward, I am now 22 years old, married with 2 kids. My husband is a very good man and a great father. I couldn't have done better. He is the very same, but just as my brother did, he started hearing voices. Instead of trying to kill himself, he left and stayed in the woods for 3 days and nights trying to figure it all out. Finally, he come home and told me that he needed me to take him to the hospital. I did. As soon as we arrived to the special room, we found out that this room was called it because it was made for crazy people so that they would not be able to hurt themselves or anyone else. He was not restrained, but nevertheless, there were now sharp objects or things around the room. Just when the doctor came in, they needed to sort out something out of the room and asked us to step into the hall while they got to it. The room was tiny. At least 3 people came in the room at once, so we didn't think anything about it. Now, in the room right beside us, there was a man being helped in his 30s. He was bald with crazy eyes. He smiled at us and then picked up a pair of scissors. Then, I shit you not, started stabbing the nurse. My husband sees this and pushes me back so hard it cuts my arm on the landing of the tray or some type. The man begins to walk near my husband when another man walks up, sticks a guy with a needle, and he is out in seconds. They took my husband to a place called Mocassin. Ben to try and help. Pissed me off going to try and visit with him the first time. The idea with treatment was try and load him up with Thorazine. He was so out of it. He thought I was his mother during the whole visit. I'd seen enough with this shit. I'm getting the fuck out of here. As I'm leaving, I turned down a long, tight hall, meaning if one person was coming one way and the other was going the other, you would touch. I guess they transported a patient here where they could have 2 guards with them. I saw this happen, my heart sank. Just as I saw the patient, he'd looked just like the man who attacked me when I was 5. No shit, this could have been his son. As I thought that, he started licking his lips at me, the same way the creepy man did all them years ago. I looked down, trying to pass him as fast as I could without making eye contact. One guard stepped in front of him to let me pass while the other stayed behind him. I started to walk past when he grabbed me by my hair and licked my ear, stating, "I'm going to rape you tonight." I screamed. He ripped out some of my hair and the guards took him down. My husband is now doing well, just as my brother did after he moved out and didn't hear any more voices. I hope no one else has to go to a mental place because more than likely I will just wait till they come home, and if they are close to me, I will have someone else handle it for me. I don't ever want to go through that again. It's a nightmare to close my eyes to this day with seeing all of them men and their evil smiles. This is 100% true, sadly.